Hi everyone, today we are checking out the Viltrox 23mm f1.4 AF lens for Fujifilm X mount cameras. This is a fast prime lens that can be used for both photo and video, and it offers a 35mm equivalent focal length on APS-C sensors. In this video, I'll go over its features, build quality, performance, and value. To view the most up-to-date prices, you can click the links in the description below. This review is completely independent. I have no obligations to any entity. However, I strongly recommend that you check out other reviews to get the most comprehensive view of the product. It has a maximum aperture of f1.4 and a minimum aperture of f16, alongside a 9-blade diaphragm that creates smooth and circular bokeh. The lens has an all-metal construction and weighs 300 grams. It has a filter thread size of 52mm and a minimum focus distance of 0.3 meters. In terms of build quality, it has a solid and premium feel to it. The lens barrel is made of metal and has a matte black finish. The hood is also metal and has a bayonet mount. It has an aperture ring that is clickless and smooth, but it can be easily bumped to a different value by accident. There is no locking switch or option to disable the aperture ring in the camera menu. The focus ring is also smooth and has a good amount of resistance. It has an internal focus mechanism, which means that the front element does not rotate or extend when focusing. This makes it easier to use filters and avoid front element wobble. It does not have any weather sealing, which is a downside compared to the Fujinon XF 23mm f1.4 RLMWR, which is fully weather resistant. However, that lens comes in at a fairly high price compared to this one. In terms of accessories, it comes with a metal hood alongside a plastic front cap and a soft pouch. The hood is reversible and has a petal shape that matches the lens's design. The hood provides good protection from flare and impact, but it won't resist drops nearly as well as plastic hoods, as those absorb a lot more of the impact. I bring this up because there's a fair few people out there that state they dropped the lens, after which it was immediately broken, compared to XF lenses, which are far more durable. I haven't had any experiences like this, but it's worth taking note of. It has a fast maximum aperture of f1.4 that allows for shallow depth of field and good low light performance. The minimum aperture is f16, which is enough for most situations, but not as small as some other lenses that can go down to f22 or lower. The aperture ring is clickless and smooth, which would have been useful for video shooting if it gradually adjusted the iris. However, it's electronically coupled and it simply doesn't do that, so the declicked nature of the lens doesn't mean much. I don't mind this, but it would have been awesome nonetheless. The autofocus performance is quiet and reliable in most situations. However, as you can see, it is a little sluggish, especially when you usually use XF lenses. Focus breathing is also quite noticeable, so keep that in mind. An internal focus breathing correction would be much appreciated here. Taking a look at the optical performance here at f1.4, in the center, it's a little soft. Not as bad as the others in the lineup, but the corners are definitely much softer than what you'd see on the other two. Stopping down to f2.8, the center sharpness improves significantly, and in the corners we see very little improvement. Stopping down to f4.0, the center sharpness becomes incredibly good, with all the aberrations also disappearing. In the corners it's still very soft. Stopping down to f5.6, the center sharpness shows some improvement, although not too much, and the corners finally see some improvement, but they're still quite blurry. Stopping down to f8, we see very decent center sharpness, and overall the contrast improves, though it's still a little hazy in the corners. Stopping down to f11, we start to see some diffraction creeping in, so the overall contrast in the image has decreased. Stopping down to f16, the diffraction becomes even heavier, and the overall image quality degrades a little, with the corners also starting to degrade. Stopping down to f22, the diffraction becomes even heavier than at f16. So, unless it's for creative purposes, I'm not sure if you'd be willing to shoot at this aperture. In terms of aberrations, we surprisingly see very few on this lens, except for some pretty heavy vignetting at f1.4, but that goes away at f2.8 and completely disappears at f4.0. In terms of chromatic aberrations, just like the other lenses in this segment, it's pretty bad. There's some pretty heavy purple fringing around the edges, and when comparing it to the 18-55 from Fujifilm, you can really see the difference. In terms of bokeh, it produces some very characterful out-of-focus backgrounds, which is very nice to see. Overall, it's a little less clean than what you'd find on an XF lens, but that can be very nice. As is the case with most prime lenses, it does not have any built-in image stabilization, which means that it relies on the camera's in-body image stabilization, IBIS, to reduce camera shake. The effectiveness of the image stabilization depends on the camera model and the shooting conditions. Here is a little side-by-side with the Fuji X-H2S. So overall, I'll say what I said about the 33mm from Viltrox, as I bought these as part of a set, including the 23mm, 33mm and 56mm. I've been really enjoying this set, and it's something that can really elevate your work. You'll be able to make well thought through choices about the look you wish to have in your images for the price of a single zoom lens, while offering that f1.4 aperture that you won't be able to get on a standard zoom. I can highly recommend it for beginners, and it may even be a better starting point than those standard zooms, as it will teach you more about compression and framing. If you like this lens, you might also be interested in the Viltrox AF 56mm f1.4. You can check out that video right here. I hope this video provided you with some value. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe or hit the like button. If you're interested, I have a bunch of other YouTube channels in many different niches, most of which can be found on my homepage. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.